Hey everybody, welcome to another video on the channel. So today, basically when I installed all of my stuff in the new case that I just reviewed, I killed my water cooler. I don't know, it's just like the motor is seized up, so I think it being offline for a while kind of ruined it. So I guess I'm buying a new one, and I guess I'm going to do a review on this. So this guy is the Corsair H100i, and it's basically a 2x 120 millimeter AIO. It comes with two fans, 4-pin, nice Corsair fans. Very similar to some of the other stuff you see with Corsair products. The fans aren't too terribly different. It does have sort of an integrated cage to keep cables and stuff out of the fan, which I kind of think is cool. So we'll go ahead and get the whole unit out of the box here. And basically, this is kind of your standard all-in-one AIO. So you've got the actual pump slash heat sink on one end, and you've got the radiator with some cords going, or some hoses rather, not some cords, some hoses going through. We have a nice looking solid copper block on the bottom. It's milled pretty well, not amazingly, but pretty good. You get a little bit of flexibility with these tubes, but not amazing. Oh yeah, this little this little cover was confusing at first, and then I realized it's just a magnet so that you can like turn the Corsair logo the appropriate way. I don't know why anyone really cares, but there you go. And so yeah, it's a pretty generic looking mounting system. We'll get into the mounting system later, but comes pre-treated with some thermal paste. You can see the nice ventilation through these fins, like you can see right through it as I tilt it around. The core is pretty standard, like maybe 10 mil, 15 mil thick. It's pretty good for mounting in a case. There's not too much to it. The top and bottom caps do hang out a little bit, so you're gonna need to be a little cautious about where you mount it. The mounting system itself, pretty simplistic. You get a few different plugs, or bolts rather, standoffs for each socket, and you get this one backing plate with a little bit of sticky stuff on it to hold it in place. Now, the thing that I didn't really care for too much with this setup, and I'm not so sure that I agree with Corsair in doing this, they've got this weird proprietary USB-C on one end, and then like a power, and like it's power and fans and the whole 9 yards. So on here you get the USB-C there, and then off of that, you know, basically it does enable you to plug it in two different ways. So you can kind of plug it in that way, yeah, and then you can also turn it over. So that's a good, I guess, if you're limited. The cable itself, because of the right angle, it sticks out pretty far, so I'm not so sure that that's going to help you out much. But anyway, like taking a look, yeah, see, we got the split off thing. This proprietary cable, you're never going to find it if you break it, I think. So we've got one thing for the RPM thing, like so for motherboard to tell the motherboard how fast those fans are spinning. And then you've got just a USB for all the USB connectivity stuff, and then a SATA power. Installation, pretty straightforward. You peel some tape off the back here, and then you line up these little slidey nuts, and then you stick it on the motherboard like such, and then you kind of press it a little bit to hold it on the back temporarily while you install the standoffs. It was pretty easy. It was nice because you don't have to sort of give your case a hug while you're trying to do this in the case. Obviously, if you're doing it outside the case, it's fine, but, you know, it's a water pump setup, so it's kind of difficult to, like, do this and get it all, whatever. Anyway, now reaching around and, like, installing the little standoffs is pretty easy. Yeah, it's totally straightforward. Like, if you've installed one of these before, no problem there. The one thing I did enjoy about these particular ones is that you can screw them in with like a thumb turn, and then you can come back later and they have a Phillips head on the top, so you can actually tighten them a bit, make sure that they're nice and secure. The one thing that's really common with these like water blocks is that like all these AIOs, because of all the hose tension and everything, I find that it's really hard to just get them secured down with just a thumb screw and get it like level and even and get that maximum contact. As with before, if you saw this case review, I have this weird little USB to internal header to plug that in. So I had to do that. Corsair, stop doing this like weird USB header thing. It's annoying. We're plugging in the fan speed thing relay. It's so silly, like, but it tells the fans how fast they need to be spinning for the CPU. Whatever. Plugging that in, and that's pretty much all you have to do. You snap it all together, and then you later, when it's time to install the radiator, and you can see I'm kind of in a tight case, so I have to kind of turn these. Yeah, you see there's a lot of extra tubing for my install, so I kind of have to twist them around. It should be fine for airflow. This case is not exactly the most amazing for airflow, but it's a micro ATX case. What do you expect? Or a mini ITX case, rather. Fan installation, super simple. They have these nice rubber bushings to keep them from vibrating. You know how to install a fan. I don't have to tell you about that. 2 of them, they just get put on there, just like that. Then you plug both these fans get plugged into that crazy proprietary cable that I sort of mentioned ahead of time. In my case, has this sweet removable panel, so I just bolted the whole radiator assembly onto that, and then it just secures in place with some thumb screws. I'll give Corsair a hand for that. It's pretty handy. So here we are plugging the fans in. You just connect them up to this little guy. Boop, boop, done. Pretty simple installation. What can you ask for? It's all just plug and play. There's a lot of cabling involved, though, so that's a little troubling. And the fan cables specifically are kind of short. So if you're using different fans with like short cables off of those, you're going to have some trouble probably. But it's not too bad. As before I said, you just put those in. Here I'm not using thumb screws, but you get the idea. Easy peasy, tuck all the wires, make it all pretty, boom, done. Looks great. If customizing the color is your thing, the water block has some LEDs in it. You can use the same Corsair IQ software that's used for basically all Corsair products to customize that. It's pretty simple. That's what that USB cable is effectively for, is to customize that color. So as far as idle temperatures are concerned, I took a quick just screen grab here. Don't pay attention to the numbers on the right-hand side for the max, but look at the numbers here in core temp on the left. Basically around 77 degrees Fahrenheit, or thereabouts. So in the 20s, somewhere in the 25 to 27 range. So that's like 77 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit thereabouts, if my math is correct. So not bad for idle temps. I'm not really expecting anything. I'm not expecting miracles. The Skylake chips they run pretty warm, so it's not a huge deal there. But I'm pretty impressed with idle temperatures. So then as far as loading up the CPU, went to the internet and found myself a good old-fashioned CPU load tester just to get those cores all to 100% utilization. And we top out somewhere in the low 60s for the most part. Low 60s, high 50s is basically where we're at. That's getting up there, but still well within the range of the thermal tolerance of the Skylake chip, at least. I think it's literally can tolerate up to 90 Celsius or something insane, but yeah, totally fine. That's well within reasonable. And for those on the Freedom units, that's somewhere around 140 Fahrenheit, basically topping out. So somewhere between 130, 140 Fahrenheit is about where we're at, as you can see on this diagram. And that's about it. The temperatures are good. They keep things within safe limits, and I'm not overclocking or anything. I should note that. You could still get away with a little bit of overclocking and still be within safe thermal ranges, I think. But yeah, so pretty straightforward. I've got some links down below for if you're looking to buy this. Clicking those links supports me, so have at it if you feel like it. If not, that's fine too. Questions, comments, anything like that, post them below. And thanks for watching.